In the quiet, idyllic community of Brookside Hills, neighbors knew each other by name, kids played outside until dusk, and the biggest crime was usually a parking ticket. It was a place where everyone felt safe. But that illusion of peace was shattered on the day 17-year-old Kayla Monroe vanished. It was a normal Friday afternoon. Kayla finished her shift at the local bakery, told her manager she was heading straight home, and got into her car. But she never made it. Within an hour, her parents knew something was terribly wrong. Kayla was the responsible one, the one who always checked in. She wouldn't just disappear. Their panicked call to 911 marked the beginning of a nightmare that would grip the entire town. The next morning, the nightmare took a dark turn. A hiker, deep in the woods just outside of town, stumbled upon a horrifying sight, a completely burned-out vehicle. When the sheriff's office ran the plates, their worst fears were confirmed. It was Kayla's car. Everything inside was incinerated, a deliberate act of destruction meant to erase any and all evidence. But of Kayla herself, there was no sign. The discovery sent a wave of terror through Brookside Hills, not just because a teenage girl was missing, but because this felt chillingly familiar. Just 4 months earlier, another girl, 16-year-old Mia Sanders, had also vanished. Her car was never found, and her case had gone cold, leaving a wound in the community that refused to heal. The two girls didn't know each other. They attended different schools and lived on opposite sides of town. On the surface, their lives were completely separate. But as investigators stood over the smoldering remains of Kayla's car, a terrifying pattern began to emerge. For the first time, the sheriff had to admit what everyone was starting to fear. These cases might be connected. The town wasn't just facing one tragedy. It was facing a potential serial predator. SICE investigators dug deeper into Kayla's disappearance. They revisited the cold case file of Mia Sanders. In the initial investigation months ago, they had briefly questioned a local repairman named Derek Cole. He had been seen near the area where Mia was last spotted, but he had a plausible alibi: a late-night work shift. He had no criminal record and cooperated fully. With no evidence to hold him, police had no choice but to let him go. But now, with Kayla missing, Derek's name resurfaced in a deeply disturbing way. A routine check of surveillance footage from a gas station near the woods revealed something sinister. Just 2 hours before Kayla's burned car was discovered, the camera had captured Derek Cole buying lighter fluid and matches. It wasn't a smoking gun, but it was enough to make him their prime suspect. Detectives immediately obtained a warrant to search his home. What they found was a treasure trove of incriminating evidence. Multiple receipts for suspicious items, a collection of tools, detailed maps marking remote backroads all over the county. But the most damning discovery came from his phone's location history. The data placed him near the site of Mia's disappearance 4 months ago, and near the woods where Kayla's car was found just hours earlier. The coincidences were piling up too high to ignore. This time, Derek Cole wasn't walking away. He was arrested on suspicion of involvement in both girls' disappearances. The entire town held its breath, hoping for answers, for a confession, for any clue that could lead them to Kayla and Mia. But when detectives brought him in for questioning, the hope turned to pure horror. Derek didn't deny being at the scenes. He didn't deny seeing the girls. He just looked at the investigators, a cold, empty smile spreading across his face, and uttered 5 chilling words. "You're too late." Those words echoed through the precinct like a death sentence. To the investigators, "You're too late" meant the worst had already happened, but they refused to give up. They couldn't. With Derek Cole in custody but offering nothing but taunts, they knew they were in a race against time. If Kayla was still alive, every second mattered. A massive search operation was launched in the sprawling woods where Kayla's car had been found. Dozens of officers, search and rescue teams with K9 units, and concerned volunteers from Brookside Hills fanned out across the dense forest. Drones buzzed overhead, their cameras scanning every inch of the rugged terrain. For hours, they found nothing but trees and silence. And then, a breakthrough. A volunteer spotted something snagged on a thorny bush near an old abandoned water treatment facility at the edge of the woods. It was a torn piece of fabric, small, dark blue scrap. It matched the color of the jacket Kayla was last seen wearing. Hope surged through the search party. All officers swarmed the derelict building, their voices echoing through the empty, dusty halls as they called out Kayla's name. The rooms were cold, silent, and littered with debris. It seemed like another dead end. But then, in a corner near a back exit, a forensics officer noticed something in the thick layer of dust on the floor. Footprints, 2 sets. One was large, from a man's work boot. The other was smaller, the distinct pattern of a teenager's sneaker, V. This discovery changed everything. It meant Kayla had been inside this building. It meant she had been alive, asterisk after asterisk. Her car was set on fire. She hadn't been with her abductor. She had been running. The smaller footprints led out the back door and disappeared into the dense forest beyond. She had escaped. Fueled by this new wave of urgency, detectives went back to the interrogation room, determined to break Derek Cole. They hammered him with the new evidence, showing him photos of the footprints, telling him they knew Kayla had gotten away. For hours, he remained silent, his smug smile never wavering. But under the relentless pressure, his composure finally cracked. He slumped in his chair, his eyes darting around the room, and muttered something that would change the entire investigation. Look near the river. She wanted water, was the break they desperately needed. Those words sent officers racing 2 miles away to the riverbank that bordered the forest. They searched the dense undergrowth, calling her name, and then they found her. Huddled beneath the roots of a massive fallen tree was Kayla Monroe. She was exhausted, scratched up, and shaking from the cold, but she was alive. She had run through the woods for hours, with Derek chasing her, until she finally managed to hide. She had been waiting, hoping someone would find her. Now, she was safe. Kayla's miraculous rescue sent a wave of relief and joy through Brookside Hills. With her safe and Derek Cole in custody, the pieces of the puzzle finally started to fall into place. Kayla's powerful testimony provided investigators with the direct evidence they needed to not only charge Derek for her abduction, but to also secure charges in the disappearance of Mia Sanders. The community that had been paralyzed by fear was now united in purpose. They held a candlelight vigil for Mia, a silent promise to her family that they would not stop searching, that they would not let her be forgotten. And they held a celebration for Kayla's return, a testament to her incredible strength and the community's unwavering hope. In the days that followed, as she began her long road to recovery, Kayla shared a simple but powerful message with the world. She said, "I survived because I didn't stop believing someone was coming." And in that moment, the entire town of Brookside Hills believed her. They had come together, they had refused to give up hope, and in doing so, they had brought one of their own back home. Thank you so much for watching. If this story touched you, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing for more content. Stay safe, and we'll see you in the next video.